on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I'll like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. With you, with you, with you, with you. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. With you, with you, with you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Pete. Welcome to Saturday night's live LUF Lounge. Welcome, everybody, live and direct, Saturday afternoon. We're doing it live. We're doing it proud. We're doing the L&D Takeover this week. Liaisons and Diversion. I've got a lot of respect for these guys. A lot of respect, as you will find out later on. So before we kick off, guys, obviously we like to introduce everybody into the show. But before we do that, I am just going to do my usual stuff, which is click like, click share. Let's get it out to the people, because that's what's important. We need to get this out. We've got a voice, and it's important. We need to get this out there. So what is the LUF Lounge, guys? Well, it's a space. It's a safe space for people like us who are in addiction or recovery, we deal with active addiction, substance misuse, mental health issues. This is our space, guys. It is a safe space. It's a space where we can talk, and it's a space where we can be heard, more importantly. So Red Rose Recovery is actually a Lancashire-based charity. It provides peer support-led training, volunteering, employment opportunities to people like us. People who have come through the mill, people who have been in the grinder, offending behavior, substance misuse, mental illnesses, domestic abuse, all of life's adverse experiences. And these guys get behind us and tell us that we're worth more than what we think we are worth. And it's massive. So click like, click share. Let's get this out to the people, and let's welcome our team today for this Liaisons and Diversion Takeover. As I said, I'm Pete. I'm your host this evening. Guys, take it away. Who wants to go first? Who wants to introduce himself first?
I'll go first then, Pete. My name's Alison. I'm one of the team managers for Liaison and Diversion. I cover Blackpool and Preston.
Fantastic, thank you.
Hiya, I'm next. I'm Debs. I'm one of the specialist practitioners over in Preston, and we also cover Skelmersdale when it's open. And I'm a mental health nurse by background.
Fabulous.
Hi, my name's Louise. I'm a support worker with Liaison and Diversion. I'm based in Preston Custody.
Thanks, Louise. Before you do it, Willie, you're on mute.
I wondered why you couldn't hear me. I'm Willie and I'm doing Willie's Words of Wisdom tonight again.
Go on, Willie. Go on, mate.
Got some really good quotes for you all. Hit that share button and like button. Let me see if you like what I'm saying.
Good man.
Hope you're all okay tonight.
I'm Emily. I'm an engagement worker for Red Rose Recovery and in recovery myself. And I'll be doing the comments tonight. So we've already got comments, but we'll go through them in a minute. We'll introduce Joe.
Hi everyone, I'm Joe and I'm going to be singing for you today.
Yeah.
And I'm Glenn. If you don't already know me, you see me on these regular. So I work for Red Rose Recovery and also with the Liaison and Diversion team. So well done, everyone. Go on, Pete, mate.
Jenna coming in? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I am an assistant practitioner for the Liaison and Diversion team in Preston.
Right, so there you go, guys. That is our select panel for this evening. We've got an absolute jam-packed show for you today. As I said, just as we started the show, I've got a lot of respect for Liaisons and Diversion. I've been through the system myself with these guys. They picked me up in custody. I'm not going to tell you about them. These guys are going to tell you about them. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass it over to Deborah and Alison, and they're going to come at us with the structure and how Liaisons and Diversion works, guys. It's important that we know this. Thank you.
Do you want to start with a bit of the background as to sort of where?
Well, if you want to start with the background, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. So basically, the policy for diversion for people with mental health and learning disabilities has been supported by the government as far back as the early 1990s. But it's been accepted that sort of nationally, there's been a lack of a guided approach. So there's been a lot of inconsistencies in how the services have been delivered across the country. So some services were commissioned with just lone practitioners, either a mental health nurse or a social worker. Some services commissioned an ad hoc type of service. So staff from existing services would go into the police stations as and when they were needed. Some were based purely in the courts. Some were based purely in the police custody suites. Some saw only adults and some saw only children. So that, and some areas didn't have any provision at all. So it was very inconsistent and very patchy. In Lancashire, our first service was established in '98 in Blackpool. And back then we were formerly known as criminal justice liaison teams. So the name change sort of comes along with the history and how services have developed. In 2009, the Bradley report was published. And this was a result of an independent review of the experiences of people with mental health problems and people with learning disabilities in the criminal justice system. He made a total of 82 recommendations, and one of the most significant one was that there would be the development of a national model for liaison and diversion services across the country. In 2010, the L&D programme was created to develop the best model for commissioning L&D services. And it was a cross-government initiative with NHS England holding sort of senior responsibility for how that programme rolled out. So as part of that, they evaluated the provision of existing services. They funded pathfinder schemes across the country. So schemes that would start to develop and progress with the model. They collected lots of data, so they wanted to understand the people that were coming through the criminal justice system, through the police stations, through courts, in terms of what health or other vulnerabilities they were presenting with. And as a result of that, they produced a standardised model for liaison and diversion. So liaison and diversion is not in itself a treatment service, but it's an identification, assessment and referral service, where we use assessments to make the most appropriate referrals for people coming through the criminal justice system, and ensure that our partners that work in the criminal justice system are fully informed as to the health vulnerabilities that people are presenting with, to sort of best inform their decision making. We're an all age service, so we see people from the age of 10 coming through police custody, and all vulnerability service. So when we first started, we very much had a focus on mental health. It's been developed to sort of recognise a wider range of vulnerabilities that liaison and diversion services can identify and support people through the criminal justice system with. I don't know whether Debbie wants to say anything.
Yeah, I think on the back of that, really, I've been with the service now 14 years, so I've seen some massive changes from, like Alison said, lone practitioners working in individual areas now to the teams that we've got. And it's been absolutely fantastic to see the growth in the teams. And, you know, now we've got the privilege of working alongside Red Rose Recovery. And I remember 12 months ago, 4 little faces came into the station and they were all really, really nervous. And they told us their stories and we got it. We understood what they were saying. And we thought that the guys from Red Rose, Louise and Glenn and Scott, who's going to be coming on in a bit, they added something to the service. They added something to the team. It was a way of speaking to people and communicating on a level that as practitioners we just couldn't do. And yeah, it's been an absolute privilege to work with these guys. And I'm not going to let too many secrets out the bag, but yeah, it's been emotional. It's been great. We've had some fantastic support from the police. We've had fantastic support from our trust as well. They've embraced us. They work really, really well alongside us. And yeah, I am a proud lady.
You've got a lot to be proud for. You know, you've got a fantastic team of people working behind you in connection with Red Rose, you know, and living proof that it works, guys. Living proof that this works. What you guys are doing is magic. It really is. And here's my chocolate for the evening. Thank you.
Well, we've got some comments already. We've got, so Janine is watching, Leanne Moore's watching, we've got Bev Webster's watching, Julie Sansoni, hi Joe Gallagher, Joe Duffield, hi guys, Amy Helena's watching, Shane Nixon, hi guys, Cheryl Atkinson, go on Joe. Joe's got a fan club going on already. James Randolph, afternoon guys, Jimmy here, hiya Jimmy, all right mate. We've got Dan Littlechild watching, Ollie J, Shelley Nixon's watching, Joe Clayton. Yeah, there's loads. Leanne Moore, I'm well up for a job guys. So we've already got someone there that wants a job. And Kim Wood, my next door neighbour's watching. Go on, Kim. She's a nurse at Blackburn Royal. Oh, sorry, advanced nurse practitioner. Get in trouble if I don't say her name properly. So there's lots of people watching at the moment and comments. So I just thought I'd put that in quickly before we go on.
Well, I'll just come in. So on the back of what just Emily's just said and around the peer support worker jobs, later on in the show, we are going to obviously promote them and let people know how they can apply, where the jobs are going. And they're quite unique jobs in themselves, because it's the only job that I know that you've got to have an offending history and lived experience to be able to get it. And that's not going to be a barrier to get it. If anything, that's going to benefit you in some respects. So we'll touch on that a bit later. And obviously in the show, we're going to talk about the working with people, that side of it, the professional side of it, but we're also going to bring in the lived experience side of it, what it's like coming through custody, going through prisons, disengaging with services, and how important that the L&D is, because many of us that have gone through the criminal justice system, if we'd have been able to divert into them sort of services, some of us might not have lived 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in custody. So stay around, guys. And like I said, like and share, because we need to get this out to as many people as we can, because potentially you might be saving somebody's life or getting someone on the right track. So do you want to carry on, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, www.redroserecovery.org.uk. Guys, if you're struggling or you know somebody's that's struggling, click that link, you know, put that in, click the link, refer them. Someone will pick them up. They come through to a fantastic team of people who are there. We'll get on the phone to them. We'll get them involved in Red Rose. We'll get them involved in groups, you know, and hopefully that might be the start of their journey. Now, I just want to jump over and let Mr. Parker introduce himself, because he has managed to jump on. So, Scott, do you just want to say hello to the guys, please?
Hello, guys, extended family, work colleagues, everybody on Red Rose. What a pleasure to be here. I'm on a bit of a food gouch at the minute. I've just had a meal with a family. First time we've sat around at a table for a good few months, so feeling pretty privileged at the moment, guys, but it's good to see you all.
Thanks, Scott. Right, guys, so, you know, we're doing this. It is the L&D takeover. I can't keep saying it. You know, I've got a massive amount of gratitude for L&D. My mate, who's just introduced himself, Scott Parker, picked me up at the very start of my journey with Liaison and Diversion. And, you know, look where I am now. Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought that on a Saturday afternoon, I'd be sat here again doing the live LUF Lounge for you guys? Do you know what I mean? It is just impossible. And just on something what somebody said a minute ago, which has blown my mind. Whenever you've gone for a job interview and they ask you, do you have a criminal record? You actually have to have one to get a job. You know what I mean? You've got to have the lived experience, and that's massive. You know what I mean? It just shows that people who have been in trouble, have had adverse experiences in their life, can move on and become a functioning person within society. It's gold, mate. It's absolute gold. Willie, have we got some words of wisdom, buddy?
Yes, mate. I've just took my volume thing off. Right, this Saturday's words of wisdom. I've got a few for everybody here. There is no right or wrong way to recover. There is only the decision to do so. You are the artist of your recovery, and you get to create and sculpt it any way you like. The attempt to escape pain is what creates pain more. For every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Instead of worrying about what you cannot control, shift your energy to what you can create. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone feels loved. And believe in the goodness in people, the light in the heart. And that's it till later on. And most of them come from the Dalai Lama, the Buddhist monk. I just thought I'd tell you that.
Oh, Willie, we love you. That were like loads of words of wisdom there. That was like a full book.
I had a good look this week. Had a good look.
You've got people. So Janine, love it, Willie. You've got fans everywhere. Rhiann Davis is watching now, and Brad Duke. Can I just say hello? Because my brother's watching right down in Bournemouth. My brother's the normal one in the family. So I'd like to say hello. He's watched my journey of recovery and the crazy train, him and his wife. So they're watching. PTR was watching. Bev Webster, yes, Willie. Willie, you are a legend in yourself and you don't even know it.
I've got another page for later.
Can't wait.
We'll
Everybody
come
needs to stay tuned in.
Yeah, we'll come back to Willie because obviously we
Yeah,
can talk a bit. We can talk a bit about your book, Willie.
Yeah, hit them share buttons, everyone. Please hit them for me.
So, as people don't know, Willie has written a book. What's it called, Willie?
Shattered Mirrors.
Shattered Mirrors. So, Willie can come in later on and talk a bit about his book. So, promote it, guys. Like it and share it because obviously, the more we can get it out, Willie's obviously book will get bought, and potentially he'll send you some copies. So
it's a book. I have said it's a book. I've read it because Willie sent me a copy. It's a book that should be available in prisons. Because honestly, it's such an inspirational story, and it's based around your time in the prisons. And I think it's something that it should be made available for people to perhaps read. I think it's really important, honestly, Willie. So yeah, definitely it needs to be bought and read.
Thanks, Emily.
So
Thanks,
just before we bring Scott Parker in, I just want to go back to Alison and Debs. They're not getting off the hook that easy. So in a bit of context around the structure and the model of L&D, so to put that in layman terms for the community, it's about signposting individuals into the right service with practitioners. So I just want to ask Debbie or Alison in respect of lived experience in custody suites and the challenges that faces because of obviously it being a secure environment. What challenges did you have and how did you overcome them?
In the recruitment of peer support workers, Glenn?
Yeah, and getting lived experience in that a secure environment.
Yeah, it's the concept of peer support work is something that we've aspired to for a couple of years, obviously, before we were able to sort of establish the pilot in Preston. Some of the challenges were around preconceived ideas about what that would look like. Were any barriers in sort of actualising and realising that role? I think we were quite lucky in Lancashire. The relationships we've got with Lancashire Constabulary have really enabled this piece of work to go ahead and to go ahead so well, with probably very few practical barriers in sort of making that happen in terms of the vetting processes, the acceptance into the custody suites and within the teams.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to touch on the fact that the support from the police that we've had in this pilot in respect of going above and beyond and actually people believing in the model. So from myself, which I'll touch on later when I talk a bit about the custody experience, but what I do know is that myself, Scott, Louise, and Lisa at the time when we was going in there, we had our own perceptions of how this was going to be and rolled out because we judged ourselves. Well, it only speaks for myself, but I judged myself and the fact that when we was going in there, I looked at things as in hierarchy and did I value myself enough to be there? Was it right? And with the support of the L&D, that's just made that transition really, really easy. So I think it's really important that we touch on a big shout out to the police because from some of the environments that we've come from in our lived experience, we've had our own judgment on how that is. But when we went in there, it was flipped on its head. And actually there's people there that will support you that are in them roles. So I think that's really important. Do you want to come in, Debs, and think about your experience of it?
Yeah, I mean, as far as, the team's concerned, we're in the police stations 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we're all there to help and support anybody who's coming through the criminal justice system who requires support, and we will get them into services. We will get them the support that they require. And I think the follow-on part to that is we also go through to the magistrates' courts as well, and we've got practitioners in court that will help and support people through that system as well. You know, and that's a vital role now that has been added to our team, and the peer support workers are getting into the court system as well, and they're supporting people through, you know, cases and getting some really, really good outcomes, really, really positive outcomes, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I'm stuck for words, to be honest with you, because I didn't know how emotional it had made me feel doing this show with you guys tonight. Do you know what I mean? Because like you just touched on like the whole process there of, you know, from custody. And I remember when I was in court not long ago, and there was somebody from L&D there as well. You know, it was like they were like guardian angels for me. They really were, you know, and just got a lot of gratitude and a lot of thanks for the support that I got from, you know, yourselves and Scott Parker and the whole team, you know, and we're moving forward now, and it is fantastic. But anyway, I want to bring Emily in for some comments, because Joe's fan club is growing as we speak.
And his mum's watching all the way down in Devon, and she's so proud of how far he's come. So Julie, you need to be, you know, what an inspiration. We all love Joe. You know, he's been coming on the groups, you know, and singing. Got a beautiful voice. It's not as good as mine, but anyway, it's fine. I've not been asked to sing on here. Sorry. Pete, I would have said we could do with someone sponsoring a few hundred copies to go into the prison of Willie's book. And then other people have said, you know, and maybe police stations and hospitals. We've even got kids' homes. Do you know? Because that stuff works, doesn't it? It's real life. I think, you know, and Janine said she's absolutely loving this. Janine really wants to work within, you know, lived experience again, and work within, like, the, you know, the prisons and the police stations helping. Because I know when I used to be arrested, you know, I might be like, well, what do you lot know? You don't know anything. You know, are you in addiction? Have you? No. So, and that with that one, so off I'd go, and I'd just go and commit another crime, and because no one got it. So this is, it, like you said, this stuff works because you understand it properly with these people. You can connect, you can empathise. You've got the lived experience. And I think that helps massively. You know, and you're not judgmental. You know, you've been there, and you know that it does work, and it's just getting it out there. So yeah, there's lots of people. Chris Rowland's watching, and like I said, Julie, we're proud of your son as well. So I'm glad that you're on here.
Just on that, what is your long-term goal, Emily?
To work within, so like what is it? Liaison Diversion. I can't even say it. To work with in police stations, prisons, and be like an engagement worker there, working with people that have been where I was, you know, locked up, given probation, all that, you know, alcohol support programs, anger management, the lot, been there, done it. And I think it'd really help people. So I'd love to do that. That is my long-term goal, to be able to do that.
And goals can be achieved. Yeah,
well, someone's put, hold on. Oh, Bev, I'm not singing the comments. It's not even funny, that. Phil Littleford has put, great stuff, guys. Maybe if you would have had people like you in the police station, I would have found recovery early and wouldn't have spent 10 years in prison. Yes, Philip, that is exactly what I'm saying. You know, I didn't have this. You would just get your bag of goodies that you had to give at the sergeant's desk, and off you went, you know, so that's brilliant. Rianne Davis, go on, Emily, you'll be a brilliant and true inspiration. Oh, thank you.
It is, you know, it is absolutely amazing that this service is available, but isn't it a shame that people actually have to hit the cells before they realise that this service is out there for them? You know what I mean? It's mad. Anyway, guys, we'll move on with the show. www.redroserecovery.org.uk. If you are struggling or know anybody who is struggling, get on that link, get on that website, put in a referral for them. We will pick it up. We will bring them into the Red Rose family, and we will hopefully try to show them a way. So I'm going to ask Joe, because obviously we don't want to disappoint your mum, and I hope that's not going to put you off too much, Joe. But if you would come in and sing us a little song, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I all right to keep my camera off? Because I started feeling very nervous before we were on.
if that helps you, you're more than
Yeah,
welcome to keep the camera off, mate.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Joe, everybody. I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to sing this song a cappella because I'm unable to get a backing track through this phone, so it will be a cappella. All along it was a fever, a cold sweat, hot-headed believer. I threw my hands in the air, said, show me something. He said, if you dare, come a little closer. Around and around and around and around we go. Oh, now tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, you know. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you. It takes me all the way. I want you to stay. It's not much of a life you're living. It's not just something you take, it's given. Around and around and around and around we go. Oh, now tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, you know. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you know makes me feel like I can't live without you. It takes me all the way. I want you to stay. Oh, the reason I hold on. Oh, 'cause I need this hold on. Funny, you're the broken one, but I'm the only one who needed saving. 'Cause when you never see the light, it's hard to know which one of us is caving. Not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you. It takes me all the way. I want you to stay. Stay. Hey, yeah, yeah. I want you to stay. Ooh. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Honestly, the comments like, your mum, beautiful. Janine, fantastic voice. Peter, you're a fantastic singer. Liam, what a beautiful, amazing singer you are. Chris Rowland's cool voice. Wow.
Loads of love, loads and loads of love.
Hearts everywhere.
Doing my head in this, Joe. Who was the artist that sang that song?
That was Rihanna, that.
Right, very nice song, mate. I've heard the lyrics. You know, it was a beautiful song, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for sharing that with us. And just on that, you know, isn't it amazing? You know, the people that we get in recovery, the skills that we've got. You know what I mean? the skills that would have gone unfound and forgotten had we not got into this recovery world. You know, it's amazing. Talking about recovery world, you know, the guy that rocked my recovery world and got me woke up was Mr. Scott Parker. So could we come in, please, Mr. Scott?
We certainly can, Mr. Peter Abbott. Thank you anyway. Let me just say, Joe, you know, a massive well done for that, pal. Massive well done. It takes courage. It takes real courage. And I know that I've seen you on a few different platforms as well, pal. And, you know, for me, you've stepped outside your comfort zone there today. Your world will only get bigger, my friend. Your world will only get bigger. And that's absolutely brilliant, is that, kid? Well, hey, and you're not on your own as well, Joe. I still get nervous, believe it or not. You might not believe it, but although I'm putting it out there, I have got a few. See, no one's having it. I've got a few nerves going on.
Yeah.
Well, that could be my tea shifting about. Anyway, so I'm Scott Parker, and I work for Red Rose Recovery, contracted to Liaison Diversion, which is part of the NHS. And we work as part of the arrest referral team at Preston Police Station. Now, I've been saying that for the past 15 months over the phone, connecting with the multi-agencies and working around being able to help people like Mr. Abbott himself. I'm going to talk about, and yes, you're dead right, you know, the kind of stipulations that the job has, you know, for acquiring a job like this it's nuts. To say the least, it's nuts. Because for me, I did, and I've said it 1,000 times in office, I thought I was overqualified. I had plenty of arrests on, plenty of jails, plenty of, you know, agencies involved with trying to get me somewhere. And I think for me, and it's important for me, is this because 20 years ago, I can remember the carrots teams that used to go around to the police cells. And, you know, these were the guys that were in recovery as well, that used to come round, drop your flap down. Do you want to talk about your drugs? Well, you know, for me back then, I'm not going to tell you how old I were because I'll give myself away. All right, 20 years. So I was 23 at the time. So I'm bouncing in and out at cells. And remember the carrots worker coming round. Do you want to talk about your drugs? Now, when I'm in a cell and I'm needing drugs, or I'm rattling from drugs, or, you know, I'm very sensitive, but at the same time, the only thing that my mind's thinking on is how to get out this cell as quick as possible and to get my next fix. I wasn't really interested in any kind of help back then. But he did, I was going to say, lubricate me out myself with a bacon butty one day, but that sounds wrong. He enticed me out the cell with a bacon butty one day, and I got talking to him. And, you know, that's my first experience around, like, the kind of work that we try to do today. Although I don't have bacon butties to bring to a cell, you know, the kind of conversation that he had with me that day has stuck with me through the years, because it's just really weird now how I have ended up doing the exact same kind of job that got me focused into, or planted the seed to any kind of recovery. And it planted the seed, because I work another fellowship. And, you know, and this is what I do to sustain my recovery type of thing. Yeah, it was different to say the least. First time going into custody, you know, meeting a new team. You know, I'm a sensitive soul, believe it or not. Really sensitive around other people and building new relationships. You know, it's not something that I wasn't experienced in, but it was just like, on a clinical level now. So I'm thinking, in a police station, I've got to be on my best behaviour. And then I'm working around NHS staff now. They're going to be really serious and yeah, they are. They're really serious and focused. And, you know, especially in the work that we were doing. And I was pretty blown away, really, because, you know, the kind of respect that were built within the team straight away, and the kind of they were not just asking, well, we wasn't just asking for their experience, they was asking for our experience, and then discussing all clients with ourselves and everything else. And, you know, it made me feel a part of something bigger. You know, straight away, they brought me into their bosom, so to speak. They brought me into their bosom, and straight away, you know, the relationships that I've formulated with every single staff member that's in that room, I have a different relationship with every single staff member, although all driving towards the same common goal, you know, and that's to help in the the people that are part of the arrest referrals. Now, we're talking about outcomes and everything else. Now, I can remember when I first went down into the cell and I'm thinking, wow, nervous sergeants around me and police, and I'm actually behind the desk for a change and not in front of it. And I'm thinking, wow, get on this. And it was a bit nerve-wracking at first because, you know, there was something in me that says, I don't belong here, you know, and there was a bit of low self-worth kicking in and everything else. But, you know, again, the team that were behind me were magic. They were absolutely just pushing me forward and, you know, not so much pushing me forward, but helping me, you know, to stand on my own 2 feet and, you know, let me realise my own worth as to why I'm there, as to my job role is to being in custody. And, you know, it didn't take long before, you know, we start having these conversations with people that are coming through. Regardless of charge, I'm not interested in charges. I'm interested in what I can do for them. You know, I'm interested in the kind of services that I can put them towards. You know, the charge alone, that's something that gets resolved with like the kind of connection and effort that they're putting behind everything that they need to do and to drive forward. Or, you know, what do they want out of the liaison diversion service? And now I know that we got brought in because, you know, many staff members might have found it hard to connect with certain like diversities, like maybe addiction or mental health. And mental health, sorry, you can't fail with mental health because Debs is the expert in that one. And homelessness as well. So, you know, our experience around being in them kind of places, sat with myself personally. You know, I suffered addiction for 26 years. I was homeless as well on the streets for a couple of years as well. And, you know, it gave me a real drive to see other people that have been in my position to be able to then reflect and say, look, I get it. I totally get it. You know, this is my pathway. This is what I've had to do for my recovery. Just let me stand shoulder to shoulder with you. Meet me halfway. I will do everything within my power to move forward with you. And I am with you. You know, not only do I don't just chase, sorry about this, I don't just chase clients around. You know, I have, service users even. I don't just chase service users around. I have people ringing me up, you know, asking for advice every now and again and wanting help to move towards, you know, getting onto groups, supporting them onto groups, supporting them with probation, supporting them with housing, you know, support. And you know what? This is not just a job to me. It is a lifestyle because I do this inside of work and I do it outside of work as well. So for me to actually get paid in this position, it's humbling. It's humbling because the kind of experiences that us guys as addicts, you know, as the experiences, you know, the kind of deprivation and the isolation and all the kind of low self-worth that we felt, you know, and then being able to bring that to identity and then just pulling people away from that and giving them hope that there's no difference between me, everybody else watching this platform, everybody else that's on this platform, other than a bit of time, a bit of help, a bit of focus, and a bit of training. Now, I will say that anybody, I mean, flipping out training. Yeah, you will smile, Debs. No, it's not intense training. It's not intense training. Again, but when they first give me a computer, I can honestly say I was ready for propping table up week because I just did not want to know. But I got massively helped through that. You know, the experiences that I've had, so the kind of outcomes that we talk about is that I can remember one guy that we had sleeping in a car over winter and, you know, the councils wouldn't touch him. And I got really passionate around, you know, wanting to help the guy. And I've just making phone calls on a professional level, which totally helps, you know, because you get listened to as well. Phoning up shelter, finding out his legitimate rights and everything else. Before you know it, we've managed to get him into some kind of supported living. And then not only that, a couple of months down the line, he got his own flat and everything else. And that was just through the interaction of him working with himself and me working with himself. You know, and I think it was beautiful. The kind of people that massively, Peter Abbott, yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Peter. You know, because today you're doing a job that I've ultimately done. You know, I spotted in you what was in myself as well, which other people spotted in me that brought me through into this kind of position. And you were hard work. You were hard work at first, but do you know what? It's absolutely no kind of work that I wouldn't have put in anybody else anyway. But for yourself, you know, you dragged your feet a little bit. You know, for me, we had to formulate a few plans, some face-to-faces and everything else. but I could see it slowly sinking in. But not only that, you were reaching out more for me. So it were worth meeting, and it were easy. It become easy in the end to meet you halfway, because in the end, you know, you actually seen where you wanted to be. You seen what you could do. You know, we try to give you as much encouragement as we could and everything else. And you know, today to actually see you, because now we don't have professional boundaries. You know, me and you are friends. Yeah? So me and you know, support each other in other areas. You know what I'm saying? And to be, and like I said, that's key, is that, you know, working for Red Rose today just shows you that you was no different to me. You was absolutely no different to me, and to be able to pull that out and for you to be able to shine today is on your own credit. It's absolutely on your own credit, but with the help of the Liaison Diversion team and given the opportunity being able to work into custody, you know, for me, it's really rewarding, really rewarding. I mean, I don't want to steal the show or anything else, but, you know, I've been chomping at bit to come in. You know, I'm not usually the one sat here not hosting it. So for me, it's, I'm massively proud of the kind of work that we've been doing as well. And my manager's on here as well, both of them. And I'm not so sure if she knows yet, although I'm sure it's been filtered back. Right, thank God for that. So on that, we got promised opportunity. When we first started the job, we got promised opportunity. Now, I can only talk for myself, but I know Louise will talk about herself later. But I can only talk for myself. You know, we're working in Liaison Diversion now for 15 months. There's been another opportunity come up now within the Guild Lodge, similar kind of role. It's a maximum security mental health establishment. And I went for the interview on Thursday, and lo and behold, would you have it? Once again, you know, they want to employ someone like myself. I mean, lo and behold. But I think, you know, massively, when it comes down to Red Rose and the kind of opportunities that it's shown me, the kind of growth that I've got from it, the kind of training and the kind of, you know, the kind of love. I mean, I will miss, and I'll put it from the heart, I will miss, you know, Preston Police Station. Although I'm off thinking, well, if it don't work out, it's all right, because I'm on a secondment. I can come back after 12 months. But it doesn't really give me the drive to then want to, no, but I know that I'll put my whole into it. I know that, you know, the kind of characters that we are as addicts, and not to cut ourselves short anymore. You know what I'm saying? We have got some real assets. We've got some real skills at the end of the day. And to think that, you know, I've not only had Red Rose behind my corner, I've had the NHS as well behind my corner, you know, Liaison Diversion. You know, these guys have been massive in my kind of growth, as well as, you know, and you can all get tissues out in a minute if you want, Debs, Alison, it's okay, I'm fine with that. But, you know, for me, it is heartfelt, because I've had nothing but support of you guys. And, you know, it's been brilliant to be a part of that team. Absolutely brilliant, because I wouldn't have got where I'm at now without that kind of love and support that I've got of you guys. You know, there's not a lot more I can say, is there really? I mean, you know, I'm now moving on.
That's not like you. There's not a lot more you can say.
Emily, it's okay. I love the identification that you've got there. Then I was trying to look like I was stuck for words. So, you know, so it looked like the emotion were coming out. Yeah, I suppose this is a platform where we can act a little bit as well, can't we?
Congratulations, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there a position available then at Preston?
Well, then you see. There you go, you see. Now I'm going on to this. So by no mistake, when we start doing the right things, putting ourselves in the right areas, hosting the right situations and being at the know, right at the right point, you know, I think now there is an opportunity for 2 part-time workers at Liaison Diversion through Red Rose Recovery. And by all means, I'm sure that it'll go out on the website as well soon.
So obviously, yeah, people that are watching today that are interested in this, you know, you here and now, this is Red Rose, so there'll be some jobs advertised. So in the
can I just come in? So firstly, the jobs are already on the website. So Peter will say the website because he knows it better than me. www.redroserecovery.org.uk. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
That's the first time I've done that. Anyway, so yeah, so we've got roles. The only thing that Scott got a bit wrong there is, so when people are looking at the job, is that it can potentially be a full-time worker, or we can potentially look at part-time roles and
well, I
splitting
didn't want
it.
to put on anybody because it took me a long time to get the full-time role. So I thought, you know what, let's spin it out a bit. But no, you're right, Glenn, I do apologise.
Yeah. So there's only me left. So I need people to apply for them jobs to get round because I need support as well. So I need people to start applying now. No, I'm only joking. I've got Alison, Debs and Jenna and all the team at L&D to support me. So, and I'll talk a bit about that later. So, so get on the website, applying. There are jobs in Preston, Lancaster, Kendal, Workington, Carlisle, and that's it.
Not in Haslingden, no, not in Haslingden.
There's not a police station in Haslingden, sorry.
I know.
So can I just say then, just for the last bit of it, I think for me, it's important that whatever I've just talked about, you know, the kind of people that we've got on here as well, you know, if you feel that you fit that criteria, you know, don't rob yourself. You are experienced in your own right. Do not rob yourself. And the kind of team and support and everything that will get around you, just believe in yourself because they'll believe in you. It'll be absolutely magic.
There's lots of comments. Daniel Bolton has put, hey guys, and those in recovery, keep going. For those who are wanting to get into recovery, make the best version of yourself. Just do it. It will be the best decision you will ever make. Great forum, folks. Janine, again, true words from listening to Scott's story. Chris Rowlands, being a recovering addict in the services, helping others is awesome. Wish there was people like you all when I was in and out of custody. So much more trust in helpers like you than book-learned helpers, which is what I've said. Kaylee Grace New, I think that was Kaylee who came on singing, who was on X Factor. Hi, Kaylee. So she's put, hey, I'm in recovery, have been for 14 months, got my kids back from care and working with We Are With You. It's the girl who was on X Factor, and I think she had a tattoo of Simon Cowell somewhere on her person. Janine's put, sign me up. Janine, you just need to go onto the website. Leanne would have loved to have done this, but she's in St Helens, so never mind. There might be positions that come up over that way. I'm not too sure. Woo!
Well, there we go, guys. So, as Emily and Glenn and Scott have said, yes, the jobs are on the website. They are on www.redroserecovery.org.uk. Click on the jobs link and you will see available jobs there. While you're on there, if you know anyone that's struggling, pop in a referral for them. Also, to the guys that are listening, if you are not members of Red Rose Recovery, it does not stop you attending the groups that they actually put out on a weekly basis. Click on the what's on and you'll see a calendar of all the groups that are on there as well. By all means, come and join us and we'll pick you up there. You know, we're easy, we're open, and, you know, we're ready to help. Over to Glenn, because I think we're going to be playing a video from L&D. I've seen the video. It's absolutely fantastic. Some great people in it. Enjoy.
Yeah. Before I play it, I just want to give a shout out to the people behind the scenes that have done a lot of hard work, because what I will tell you, it's took months to get this together, and I'm privileged to be a part of it. It's gives you a better picture around the work that goes on into the custody and into the community, the partnership working between Red Rose and L&D. And when I watched it, I was absolutely blown away. So a massive shout out to Jimmy and a massive shout out to Scott, because they're the ones that pulled this together with the people, obviously, that took part in the footage. And I don't want BBC or ITV calling me after it, because obviously my role in that I thought was actually quite good, but I'll let you be the judgment on that. So I'm going to play this video. This is the first time that anybody has seen it in respect of the community. So hold on to your hats, guys, and I'm going to play it. Can I ask everyone to put themselves on mute while I play this video?
I'm the custody inspector in charge of South Division, which covers Preston and when it's open Skelmersdale. But I also have thematic responsibility for vulnerability across Lancashire. That entails within custody, anybody who comes in who has vulnerabilities, anything that makes people vulnerable are covered by me within custody and working with partners around those issues. Currently, the main partners we work with day in, day out is the Liaison Diversion team, who are members of staff employed by the NHS, totally independent of the police, who come into custody and speak to the detainees, speak to the sergeants, liaise with the medical providers and other outside agencies to address any issues that the people coming into custody have. People, when they come into custody, obviously think the police are there to deal with crimes and punish people. So we're there to lock people up, lock bad guys up, put them in a cell, and they get punished accordingly by being detained in a police cell, put before the courts or whatever other means of disposal we use, and that's how we're rolling life. However, with liaison diversion, there's a wider remit, and we're looking after people's vulnerability issues, looking at why people are committing crimes, why they're offending, what we can do within custody to try and prevent people from reoffending, prevent the constant recycle through the revolving door of custody, and looking at preventing further crimes, further victims down the line. I think we have a really good working relationship with L&D. They're starting to utilise peer support workers, which are going to go across the county soon, having been trialled at Preston, working with other agencies to try and help others who are going in the spiral of criminality, who have got vulnerabilities, who are reoffending. I think the peer support workers we've had at Preston as a trial has worked exceptionally well. The work they are doing is exceptional. The case studies that they've had are superb, and we're now at the stage where we're looking at rolling peer support workers out across the county. The benefits for us are we're not constantly booking in the same people for the same or similar offences, charging them, putting them before the court, and getting bailed from court or given custodial sentences. The peer support workers are working to solve those and liaise with people, and by them having lived experience, they can understand and relate to the people they're dealing with. They can explain their own personal circumstances to them, what they've been through, what they've experienced, and they get that relationship going very early doors with the detainees.
People leave custody. Sometimes people don't want anything, which is fine. We'll offer them an assessment, we'll have a chat with them. We'll offer them help with their issues that's been identified through the risk assessment or from L&D screening. We've got an interim case management team which deal with community-based teams and referrals. We will then refer to the ICM team for them to deal with that individual and arrange for them to be seen in the community and to follow up anything that's been arranged at the original assessment. Then obviously as an add-on to that, we now have the peer mentors. That's the kind of support that we as practitioners, professionals, nurses, the sort of advice, lived experience advice we just can't offer. We know what services are available, we know how to deal with people, we know how to talk to people, we know how to assess people. But the peer mentors have that added experience, lived experience, which is what we were looking for to engage service users in a completely different way than we can. But then together we've got the experience and we've got the lived experience as well. And it's a two-pronged approach to dealing with service users and offering the best service we possibly can. We can, in that time, we can get them into the right services, whether that's rehab, drug and alcohol. We deal with homelessness, debt, mental health. So we think that because we're all vulnerability, there's nothing that we can't deal with. There's nothing. Somebody has a vulnerability, everybody that walks through the door, I think we all feel has a vulnerability. And we will help all those that are identified or referred to us, or those that we can find through screening processes. So as far as the service is concerned, I don't think there's much that we can't offer. But the peer mentors are predominantly part of that service now. And I don't think the service would be the same without them. So, and I think the expansion of them is certainly the best way forward.
As an assistant practitioner, what we do is we will see people that are signposted to us and referred to us from the practitioners in custody, and then we will work with them in the community, signposting them, referring them to any services which we feel together are applicable for that person. And then once the person is engaged with that service, we will then look to discharge them from our service. Quite often, there's a reason everyone's coming into custody. Whatever that reason may be, there's a reason why people drink, there's a reason why people take drugs. There's a reason why people don't have access to the housing. There's counselling issues. So hopefully the idea is so that it doesn't become a revolving door for them, so they don't come back into the same situation again. So we try and prevent that by cutting out what's happened to them, by referring them to the correct service. Success-wise, I think we've done really, really well. We've referred them into the correct services. And we've had some fantastic stories. You know, people who've turned their lives around and who've gone on to be peer support workers themselves and work with us. To me, the peer support workers have been absolutely fantastic. These guys, their stories are just incredible, I think. Their passion, their enthusiasm, the fact that they've recovered from what they've been through is absolutely amazing.
I started off with Red Rose Recovery around about 3 years ago, started volunteering due to my past. I'd come through the criminal justice system, made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I didn't know how to get out of it. So I started volunteering, but by volunteering, going through that pathway, that then enabled me to develop a skill set to help others ensure the visible recovery in the community. And I thought to myself, I could go into the custody suite and show visible recovery, and what better way to do that than to team up with the Liaison Diversion team, the clinical setting, and collaboratively work together to show visible recovery. The things we do in custody is to empower individuals to change their life and show them that visible recovery and that with that empathy. So we go in there with the Liaison Diversion team of practitioners and we try to build that rapport, and then we continue that process into the community, into different services. We work with quite a diverse cohort of people. It could be mental health, domestic violence, substance misuse, alcohol, homelessness, all them sorts of people we work with, and then they get identified on what service would be best for them, and then we support them within that to that service. The response that we get from them kind of people is that they don't see us as the hierarchy. They see us as people that have been through it, and straight away that helps build that gap. And straight away, so they see us as people that have been there and understand what they're going through. I absolutely love the job that I do because I can see that visible recovery and the journey. I'm privileged to be on that journey with the individuals and see them at the most vulnerablest, and then maybe going into employment, into training opportunities, getting the families back, the children back. So that's what is rewarding for me.
My job role is a peer mentor, so basically I'm employed for my life experience. I've got lived experience in alcohol and drug misuse. I started crack cocaine when I was 13 years old, did a life of crime, using drugs, drinking, finally got clean on the 1st of February 2017, and I've never used since. And I think my life skills can incorporate the people I work with who are coming out of custody, 12 couldn't stop the revolving door of getting locked back up. The people I work with, we try and get them housed, try and refer them to drug services, see if they want to go on a script. It's me just putting my life skills into the clients that I come across and letting them know recovery is possible and you can change your ways and stop all the stigma that is attached to drug addicts. For the people I work with, when they leave custody, I will give them a call. First of all, I explain, I'm exactly like them. I might not be using drugs anymore, but I can get on a level with them. And it's like this language that we have, an addict to an addict. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. And I just let them know they're not alone, try and just help them move forward, maybe getting them into a bit of counselling, a bit of bereavement counselling. A lot of the women like me, I had domestic violence, getting them into domestic violence services, getting them onto other groups with other people so they don't feel alone. Because I know when you're using, you feel alone, you feel it's only you who's doing the bad thing. You think everybody's going to judge you when they're not. People are there to help you. You just need to see it. And a lot of the time, we're speaking, we're like friends, and when I'm discharging people, sometimes it can be a bit upsetting because I've watched that person, been involved with social services. Like a lady we discharged last week, and she's just got a child back. And seeing that and saying goodbye to her, closing her, it can sometimes touch you a bit. The rewards I get back from this, just helping people, helps me also. And I love when you see someone so down and that light just switch on and they come to a realisation that there is a different way out there than using drink and drugs.
I came about being a service user when I awoke in Preston Police Station. I'd been arrested for driving my vehicle whilst under the influence. I do consider myself to be an addict now. I used to use drugs as a reward system, basically. At first, you know, it started off as just a normal every Friday sort of thing. I'd work hard all week, and you know, I'd finish work on a Friday and go to the pub, meet some friends, a couple of lines, a couple of drinks, good laugh, you know, and that would generally be it, you know. And then as time went on, it started to progress to using at work. Quite soon got a grip of me, and it became a daily thing, daily exercise that I was doing. And you know, it was something that I couldn't stop myself from doing. I needed it to work. I ended up taking the cocktail of drugs that I did on the night that I committed the offence. You know, it was down to a few factors. I just moved into a new property with my partner. We were having a baby. Baby had just been born 2 weeks prior. Got a new car. And it was 2020, and COVID and the lockdown was massive. I'd lost a lot of work. You know, I'd gone from doing quite a lot of window cleaning and general cleaning. You know, so in the space of a day when we went into lockdown, my income was slashed by 2/3 of what it normally would be. I was using drugs as a coping mechanism, basically. It was all getting a bit too much. And very shortly after leaving custody, I was contacted by Liaison Diversion. By Scott Parker, who became my key worker. And Liaison Diversion sort of geared me in that direction. They signposted me into Red Rose Recovery, where there was an abundance of things to be able to do, even in the pandemic. It's just a feeling of being involved and knowing you're not alone anymore. You know, and Liaison's Diversion and Red Rose have shown me that way. Without these people in there, I don't know where I'd be now. I really don't know where I'd be. I've got a feeling I know where I'd be, but it's somewhere that I'm not. And, you know, I'm coming through it. I'm in recovery now. You know, and it's through these guys that I'm in this recovery.
Hello, back again.
Hi.
Can I just come in before you take over, Peter? Because actually that comment at the end, that narrative on that video is not actually true, is it? At present, because you actually got the job, didn't you? So you're actually employed now. So obviously that was done prior. You obviously getting your role. So actually coming through that service with Red Rose and the L&D team and support from the staff there, you obviously, like Scott said earlier, you've done the work. Obviously we've just been there to support you, and you're now employed. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, quite emotional, to be fair, Glenn, after watching that. It just sort of just reminds me of how far I have come, you know, and
well, there's lots of comments. Don't some comments first, and then
please,
just gather yourself.
Yeah.
Right, I could see you filling up now. We're going to either sing to you or do some comments. So we'll do some comments. James Randolph, my new favourite word is vulnerabilist. What is that? Anyway, Glenn, that was for you. So
yeah. So I'll come in there before. Don't rescue me. I'll come in and I'll explain that. So
right,
for anybody that has done some footage and there's a camera in front of you, sometimes you make mistakes. I am real. So when I come out with that comment, it was just
Oh, right.
off the comment. So obviously, I don't even know if it's in the dictionary. So that was my mistake. So I'll own that. Okay, there we go.
Oh, that well, anyway. I couldn't even say it. Stephen Brown, Lou and Glenn, good stuff. Guys, amazing. Just shows how visible recovery works. Cheryl Nichols is watching. Barbara English, Glenn, you bloom and grow every day. How brilliant to watch how far you have come. We've got Leon Moore. This is my dream job. So full of passion for this. Stephen Brown, amazing guys. Stephen Brown, Glenn in his hometown. Boom. Chris Rowlands, not that it really matters, but how many of you awesome people are 12 steps? 12 steppers? I did do it, but that was quite a long time ago. And then Leanne Moore, wow, Peter, amazing. Well done. You so deserve this, amazing, man. Giving me amazing opportunities. Thank you so much, Peter. Be forever grateful. And then Chris Rowlands, it's wicked to see addicts from the depths of despair to see you today smashing life on life's terms and helping others. And I just want to say to Louise, honestly, Louise, every time I see Louise, she inspires me. And I wish that there'd have been somebody like you when I went through domestic violence, abuse, when I was committing crimes, when I was... honestly, I would have just wanted somebody like you to have been there to help me, you know. So you're doing an amazing job, and I bet you do really inspire other people. So well done, and well done, Peter. You know I love you.
Before Peter comes in, obviously the video itself, get as many comments to Emily as you can around how they thought the video went, because I believe that the people who are behind the scenes would like the feedback. I think it's amazing. And all the team, there was that many people that pulled that together. It's just a big shout out to everybody, including yourself, Alison, Debs, Louise, and obviously I could name everybody, but everyone had a part to play in that. And it was, I think it took about 3 months, didn't it, Alison? 3-4 months, give or take. We had loads of footage, and then it had to be edited and bits put into it. But I think it just paints a brilliant picture on how the service works around, and I'll come on to that, and I won't go into too much detail because I'm going to talk about custody experience from a lived experience point of view and how I perceived it when I was coming through them custody suites. So, have you gathered yourself, Peter?
I sure have, mate.
So, do you want to express your feelings? I wouldn't have rescued you. Emily rescued you there. I'd a not being cruel and sitting you, because I think that it's real to get that emotion out of how far you have come, and the fact that, and to be able to feel that, because you have done amazing, and you've tipped up and you've shown commitment, and we just guided you and supported you, and that is the point of the L&D. It's a service to be able to divert you away from them custody suites and into services that you are being identified by the practitioners. And I'll give you a shout. Obviously, there's Craig, Fiona, Danielle, Z, Paul, and the list goes on. So a massive shout out to everyone in the L&D team.
Absolutely. I'll second that. Big shout out to you guys. Massive amount of respect for you. For what you do and for what you're rolling out, and I'm sure Scott Parker's going to be eternally missed. But I'm sure there's more Scott Parkers out there, and more Glen Islands, and more Deborahs, and more Alisons, and more everyone, to be able to get on this team. But anyway, so Glenn, the question you asked me before the end of the clip, while I was in my own head, what was it again? How do I feel about getting a job with Red Rose or something like that? Was it?
Yeah, because it's been a really, really quick transition, and
massive, yeah.
And that's not because we didn't have anybody. It's the fact that you tipped up and showed commitment, and obviously had the skill set to be able to support people. And you've shown it every week, coming on platforms like this, LUF Lounge, doing groups, and it just shows you that if you've got that work ethic and that commitment and that skill set to learn, that there are opportunities out there. You've just got to go and grab them. So my question to you was, how do you feel about where you're at now? And I know you're going to do your story now, and obviously you'll touch on that. So yeah, the floor is yours, mate.
Thank you. So how do I feel, excuse me, about where I'm at now. Yeah, you know, not a day goes by where it isn't difficult, guys. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and say that life is brilliant and easy, because it isn't. I'm an addict that suffers with addiction. Do you know what I mean? And it's not something that is going to leave me anytime soon. In fact, it's never going to leave me. It's always going to be there doing press ups in the background, waiting for me to stop doing the things that I've been taught to do. Now, I love my job with Red Rose Recovery. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would be doing what I'm doing now. We'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to basically share my life story with you guys, you know, and we'll get on to where we are now. So yeah, you know, obviously you know me from being on the LUF. So I was born in 1983 in Leyland, and I grew up on a council estate called Wade Hall. Not many people aspired to do anything coming from Wade Hall. They were all very much into speed and heroin and things like that. Something that our family found out quite soon, really, with my brother, who became addicted to speed for quite a lengthy amount of time. I was only young while that was happening. I was growing up, and I was only a youngster while my brother was addicted to speed. And I swore blind that I would never do drugs, because I hated what I seen it do to my family. I hated what I'd seen it do to other people's families as well. So yeah, you know, I was brought up on this council estate, and I thought, you know, while in my later teens and stuff like that, that my parents were complete bastards. Excuse me, squaring my passion. I apologise. You know, but now on reflection and looking back, they were only trying to protect me. They were only trying to do what was best for me. You know what I mean? And I realise that now. You know, they didn't let me stay out late at night because they knew what was going on the estate and things like that, and they didn't want me to become embroiled in that life. You know, so it was more protection, but overprotection it turned out to be in the end, because I went that way anyway. You know, I was schooled in Leyland at primary school. I had 2 primary schools. I remember going to St Anne's in Leyland, and then for some reason I had to move schools. I don't quite remember why. The thing is with me, I've always been a little bit of a chameleon. I lived in a bit of a fantasy world, which probably indicate, you know, the light bulb should have gone on there for me for being an addict anyway, because I didn't like life and reality. I didn't really fit in. I bounced from friend group to friend group. You know, I never really had a solid, firm set of friends where I would, you know, be with them all the time. You know, I'd touch in with people in different friend groups, and when I got bored there, I'd move away from them. You know, yeah, that was pretty bad, because my friend was my dog. You know what I mean? I used to go walk my dog on the park, and that was also my escape, because I used to pretend, because I was only young, that I was running away with him and I didn't have to go back. You know, I didn't really get much of a voice when I was growing up. We weren't really allowed to speak our minds, or finding this difficult, because I know my mum and dad are going to be watching this. You know what I mean? And I don't want to upset anybody. But yeah, you know, my dad was quite heavy-handed when growing up and things like that, and punishment would be a thick ear. And you know, I was scared of my dad. He was a strong man, you know what I mean. And we used to get ringing ears and things like that, and it was so like just weren't allowed a voice, weren't allowed to speak. You know, we didn't have an opinion, and if we did have an opinion, it wasn't allowed to be said. So we were very repressed in our feelings and emotions. And I don't feel, you know, that I was showed a lot of love. I was a middle child. My mum had 2 kids to a previous relationship. I was born first from my father, and then my little sister came along, and I copped a massive resentment from my sister for many, many years. You know, because the focus went onto her. and she used to go away with them all the time to different places, and I'd have to stay with my grandma and granddad. And while we're talking about my grandma and granddad, we used to go and stay in Wigan. My grandma was a crazy cat lady. I have 6 cats now. But my granddad, I used to go to the park with him, and that was the first time that I drunk booze. He'd go down the shop and he'd buy me a can of Stones Bitter. I was probably around 12 years old, you know what I mean? And we'd walk around park, and I felt great, you know, at that point in time. You know, I'd have a can of Stones Bitter walking around the park with him, maybe a swig of his vodka out the bottle. Didn't know at the time that my granddad was a full-blown alcoholic, and he died of alcoholism some years later. He fell over and broke his femur and bled out internally. You know, so let that be a warning to anybody that, you know, it does happen, guys. You know, it's not good. So yeah, you know, I've moved schools. Went to my second primary school, and I started getting bullied from day one there. It was horrific, you know what I mean? It was like, and it weren't just boys as well, it was girls, and they used to call me Injection Boy. And oh my god, every time I came around the corner, the girls would be like, Injection, you know, and it was like, it just made me feel like, what is wrong with me, you know what? And that progressed through to high school. Again, that's probably why I didn't have solid friends groups, because, you know, I was being bullied quite a lot. In the end, you know, I ended up absolutely flipping out and doing one on them, you know what I mean? And broke both my hands, actually. I laid into them that much. But yeah, you know, so at 16, I hit 16 and I left school, and I was going out all the time. And this was where the protection thing was coming in from my mum and dad as well. They were like, oh, you know, you shouldn't be going out all the time. You can say no to some parties. Well, that were it then. I was like, why are you trying to control me? I know what I'm doing. I've got it going on. I'm 16 years old. Do you know what I mean? I can take on the world. I can have sex now. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I left the home. Yeah. And I moved to Preston. And it was the worst thing that I ever did in my life. The worst thing, because I didn't grow up mentally in my head. I went from living at home, going out already, to moving to Preston, 16, shared house, straight into party drugs. Ecstasy was the big one. I loved these. The feeling of love that you got for other people, the connection, the feeling of euphoria was amazing. It was such a release, you know. There was a lot of weed involved, a bit of speed, tried crack. I'm not going to do a full drug-a-log, no way. But I remember the first time that I was given cocaine, and it was a guy, and he said, I can't afford to pay you today, Pete. I was working for him at the time. He said, but what I'll do, he said, I'll pay you in cocaine. I'll never have it. And that first line of cocaine was something else. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't bloody, honestly. And it just took me from there. Ecstasy became a bit of the past, and it was all about the coke then. And at first it was easy to maintain. Do you know what I mean? It was I worked, and I'd go, and I'd you know, I'd go on a Friday, and I'd go out and I'd get some coke, and we'd do the party stuff and that. And when I was doing this and going out, I was the life and soul of the party. I was the first up and the last one down, you know, and it started to take its toll on me. And I think my parents sort of knew what was going on at the time, even though I wasn't at home. And they sort of like highlighted the fact that I always wanted to work offshore, you know, as a holiday rep. So I got involved at college through my dad telling me actually that there was a course, and it was originally to become a children's club rep, because I love kids, you know, and I sort of cleaned myself up, got sorted, passed the course, did the DBS, passed all that, because I haven't got a criminal record until very recently in life, which we'll get to. So I became a children's club rep. I got the first day in Gran Canaria. We were on a 2-week lockdown, and we got there and we weren't allowed to go out. Yeah, right. As if I wasn't going out. I was there. I'd arrived, and boy, did I arrive. I think I lasted something like a month with the kids club rep. Got sacked because I was out all the time, didn't wake up, didn't turn up, and I got a job doing party tickets, and became an 1830s rep. You know, so I was taking out all the party excursions. We were selling all the tickets, selling them drugs, selling them their best holiday that they could have. but by Christ, it took its toll on me mentally and physically. And I think by the end of it, I came back at 8 stone and urinating blood. It was pretty bad, you know. And then I came back from being a rep, and I had Ellie. I'd met Laura out in Gran Canaria, who was the mother of my first child, Ellie. You know, and I was like, right, that's it, not doing it anymore. Got Ellie, 20 years old now, by the way. Yeah, got Ellie. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna be a family, and I'm gonna get it going on. Laura soon started suffering with postnatal depression, and our relationship turned from a relationship of drugging and loving to me being abused by her physically, which was quite hard because, you know, it's not something that guys talk about really, as being having domestic violence committed against them, you know. And I've just one example. I was sat down watching TV at my sister's in Plymouth, and we'd taken Ellie up to see, to meet my family, my sister and my brother, who were down in Plymouth at the time. And a TV remote just smashed me in the side of the face for no reason at all. She just pissed off, so she threw it at me, and it clocked me a proper one. It did. So, you know, yeah, she, through that, you know, she was mentally abusing me as well, telling me that she was sleeping with her ex-boyfriend when she went back to Skelmersdale. You know, so in the end, I did what I did, and I cheated on her, and I have to live with that guilt for the rest of my life now, because my little girl didn't have a dad growing up because of the things that had happened. So after Ellie, you know, there's many years of progression of just bouncing from job to job, pizza places, bars, drugs, pizza places, bars, drugs. Then started the geographicals. We all know what they are. You know, I moved from Preston to Plymouth, where my brother and sister were. Bearing in mind, my brother was, you know, an addict. He's not an addict now. Well, he's not a drug addict anymore. He's a full-blown alcoholic now, which is something that we still have to deal with. So we moved to Plymouth, and I'd been doing a lot of coke before I moved, and I was like, I just had enough, and I thought, you know what, I need to get out of Preston. I need to move. So yeah, bang, we moved to Plymouth, and my brother sorted me out somewhere to live. It was with his partner at the time, her daughter, and her fella, and I moved in with them, and he was a flipping coke dealer. What are the chances? Do you know what I mean? So I ended up straight back. It moved from the madness to the madness, you know, and it absolutely, it just took me, you know, for another couple of years. I fast moved out of that house and got in another relationship. You know, I'm looking for relationships because, as I said earlier, I don't feel I got enough love and attention from, unfortunately, my mum and dad when I was growing up, because my little sister came along, and all the focus was on her and about what she needed and how great she was. You know what I mean? That I was sort of just forgot about, I feel. You know, probably wasn't that, but that's the way I felt about it. It's probably normal middle child syndrome, if anything. So yeah, I was always looking for love. I was always looking for partners and relationships, because, you know, it gave me what I needed. It gave me that initial instant gratification of feeling loved and feeling like there was someone around me. And yeah, you know, there was a few of them, and I met this one in Plymouth, and, you know, all this time I'm looking for love and that, and I got it every time off these women, and I got the love that I so craved, but it was never enough to keep me stimulated mentally, you know. And I'd move on, or, you know, and in the end I ended up leaving this one girl after a couple of years, and I moved off to Bahrain, Qatar, for a few years. Again, you know, another geographical, let's go to a country where drugs and alcohol isn't allowed. That might help. You know what I mean? So I went and got a job out there, and I came back, and then I came back to Preston from Plymouth, just out of the blue, you know, and my mum and dad were happy to see me, and my brother was back in Preston now at this point as well, because it had all gone peak-tong down there with his ex-wife. So his ex-partner and stuff, and he was drinking too much. And, you know, when I met my brother, you know, when we get together and we had a night on the beer, we'd be looking at 2, maybe 3 crates of 24 beers gone in a night. And then, you know, after the first crate, it'd be like, should we get a bit of meat? Should we get, you know, should we get some stuff and that? And I remember one time climbing out the window because his partner had gone to bed, climbing out the window and running off to school, you know, so she didn't hear us. Anyway, that's digressed a bit. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, I came back from the Middle East and I moved back to Preston and I started up my window cleaning company, which is still running today. You know, through all this craziness, I've still got my window cleaning company and it's going all right. You know, before COVID, it was going great. But, you know, and then COVID came. So anyway, yeah, I will get to that again in a minute. So I met a lady in Preston who became my wife. And I was madly in love. We had a child and we moved from Preston to Penwitham and got involved at the local pub in Penwitham. You know, we both had my business was going well. She had a really good job with social services and child protection. And yeah, I met some people and cocaine was back on the table again. But this time it had gone up a level. It was now up at the top end of the spectrum rather than being street level, you know, and this was where it really ramped up for me, you know, the coke and stuff. So yeah, in the end, I ended up leaving my wife and child because I chose drugs because the illness of and you know the illness of addiction got to me that much that I left my wife and child to choose to take drugs and drink over that, and it was disgusting. In fact, before we got off on the meeting, I don't know if you saw the young girl that was in there with me. That's the daughter. I still see her now to this day, you know, and yeah, you know, we're divorced now. And the day that I left was came 5 years of, I think I was 32, came 5 years of absolute hell of me using cocaine daily, drinking daily, drinking tenant super, had spells of sobriety throughout that, but never really anything that would be, as you consider, you know, to be clean, no clean time, you know, and it just got to the stage where it became too much and I tried to kill myself. I tried a suicide attempt, tried to overdose with several things. And yeah, you know, and I've met someone else at that point who, and the baby that you saw, that's my partner now, my fiance, you know, and this is the problem. Yeah, this is my thing with me is I cut myself up on a daily basis mentally because I never wanted to be a statistic. And all I ever wanted to do was be a dad, a husband, and a family, and that is what I wanted out of my life. But because I had the illness of addiction and this sickness in my head, I couldn't allow myself to do that because I always wanted to go out and do other things because I lived in a fantasy world. My mum and dad used to call me Narnia, you know what I mean? Because I'd go off on one crazy. So yeah, I met Julie within this 5 year period, quite soon after I left my ex-wife actually. I met her doing musical theatre, which is a big passion of mine. Done loads of shows now, and we're still together. I love them all when we're on stage, though. Not on stage. I'm joking. No, I absolutely adore her. I've got a lot of time and I've got a lot of love for Julie because the things that I put her through over the last 5, 6, nearly 7 years now, have been horrific. I've stolen from her mentally, physically, and financially. You know, I've not physically stolen money off her, but I have extorted money from my business and from people. And you know, she's never turned her back on me. You know, I remember in the height of my addiction and using in this 5 year period that I would use up all day in my van and stuff like that, and I'd get so paranoid. The fun went out of it very soon, by the way, guys. There's no glamorous side to drug taking. Yeah, good drugs aren't bad, people are, right? Drugs were made to make people feel better, but we can't use them. It's just not meant to happen. Don't do it. It's just not worth it. recovery and sobriety is so much better, by the way. I've got so much more going in my life now in here, connection wise, on a physical, emotional and mental connection with my partner than any drug could ever give me, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, I would do things like hide in the loft from my partner because I had psychosis going on from using too much, drinking too much, and she'd come in and I'd hear her crying. Broke that woman. I took her spiritually to the depths, and we still struggle today. You know what I mean? We still struggle to. So I'm going to start wrapping it up a little bit now. Back in June last year, we were having a baby. We've been living with a mum for a few years. We paid a load of debt off. I was still using while I was living with a mum and stuff like that in secret. Julie had an idea what was going on. We'd saved up the deposit. We moved to the house, got a new car because I still had the business. I'd still built all this up through addiction and, you know, through using that. I could still maintain my life. Obviously, the money wasn't as much because I was squirreling bits away like she didn't know about to pay off drug debts and things. But, you know, we moved into the house, and on the day before lockdown happened, actually, was the day we moved because I was pushing my solicitor to say, I need to buy this house because we're going to be locked down and you're not going to be able to move us. And I cannot cope with staying at her mum's for one day longer because her mum is making me use, or so I thought, you know, but it wasn't that. It was me making me use. I was my own worst enemy. I just looked for excuses to be able to use. If I got up in the morning and the sun was shining and I had a good day at work, I'd use because it was a reward. Yeah. If I got up in the morning and the sun was shining and I had a good day at work and I stubbed my toe, I'd use because I'd stubbed my toe. Do you know what I mean? I didn't need an excuse. It was just there. It was in me to do it. So we moved the day before lockdown into our gaff, and COVID hit, and my income just went like that. And I had 4 lads working for me before COVID. I've got 2 now. New house, new car, new baby. A third of the money that I was earning. 2 lads that still need a wage. Work that still needs doing. And I landed this big building contract. So I ended up with more staff through the pandemic, working on a building site, cleaning out new builds. And one of the guys that was working for me was selling pregabalin and Valium. I'm not fussy when it comes to drugs. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think I was an addict. Let me just get this bit out, actually. This is important. I didn't think I was an addict, yeah, because I didn't stick needles in myself and I wasn't begging in the street. I'm not an addict. I'm a business person that's got it going on, and I can do this because I'm funding it myself. I've not got a criminal record. I'm right. So I've taken these pregabalin and stuff, and 22nd of June, I think it was, baby was 2 weeks old, taken a load of these drugs and got in my van and then nearly run a woman and a kid over and crashed my van into someone's car. I don't remember any of this. This is where the drugs took me. I don't remember any of it. Woke up in a police cell, didn't even know where I was, don't know what was said. And that's how I met Liaisons and Diversion, guys. That's where my story changed and my life changed, and I am becoming the person that I am today. Because I know now that I don't need that. I've lived that life from 16 years old to 37, 38 now. And all that time, I've just systematically taken drugs, and it's got worse and worse and worse as the years have gone on the timeline. You know, if you was to do a timeline of my life, it'd be like this, you know, and then it went up, you know, and now it's non-existent now. Now it's Dr. Pepper, Galaxy, and Vimto that rocks my world. All cups of tea with 3 sugars in as well, in a Tinkerbell cup. I love that. And my garden and my daughter and my connections and things that I've got now. And do you know what really does it for me now? What I'm doing right now, this job is amazing. This connection, this giving it back to people and letting them know that, you know what, we will find you and we will catch you and we will help you. You just got to want it. Like Scott Parker said before, I was hard work. I've been hard work all my life. That's me. I'm probably on the spectrum if I was inspected back then. You know what I mean? I am hard work. I am classic. All over the place, as you could probably tell when I was the LUFs and things and my life story, you know. So that day when I met Scott Parker and Leah L&D, my life sort of changed. Not straight away, it was slow, because I'd move appointments and that, because I wanted it, but I didn't want it. But I wanted it, but I didn't want it. And this has been the thing, you know, with my recovery all the way through. L&D signposted me through into Red Rose. Red Rose then got me on groups. I was doing daily Zoom calls where I met the lovely Emily Kinder on there as well. I think you just come into services, seen Willie on there. You know, and I'm still a very active part of Red Rose. It has given me a lot, guys. You know, it really has. You know, it's been an emotional year, really. It's been a bloody roller coaster of a year. You know, from I didn't expect to be sat here on a Saturday night, like I said at the beginning, doing this and talking about my life story and about the shit decisions that I've made over time. However, I have made them decisions, but they are the past, and I have no control of what has happened. All I have is control of what's going to happen in the future. By doing this stuff that I'm being taught to do by these guys, L&D, Red Rose, you know what I mean, and by investing it back into people, it's enough for me now. That is enough. You know, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I need to finish on. Yeah, actually there is, you know, through L&D and Red Rose, they helped me acquire funding to go to rehab. Rehab was a 12-step rehab. I successfully completed that, came out and started volunteering with Red Rose because I knew I was going to do that as soon as I got out of rehab. You know, started volunteering with Red Rose. And then it's all just gone, it's all just blown up like in a mad way, you know, and I have to pinch myself sometimes to think, am I actually doing this? Because I was told by my teachers that I would never do anything, I would never be anybody, I would never amount to anything in my life. And you know what, I left school with no qualifications except English. But like I said, I own my own company and I'm a recovery worker now, and I absolutely love my life. And that's thanks to you guys who I'm looking at on the screen, you know. And I know you say, right, that, yeah, well, you've done the hard work. Well, without you guys showing me how to do the hard work, I wouldn't have been able to do it, would I? So I am eternally grateful, quite emotional right now. I owe L&D a hell of a lot. And I will forever, ever be eternally grateful. And so will my family, because they've got today a dad and a husband to be. Somebody who wants to just do well in life and love rather than make war now. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh.
Can I give you a group hug? Come on, give me an hug. Give me an hug. Come on.
All right.
There you go.
You're feeling it. Hey, look, it says on my top, no angel. I am no angel. Got
Peter.
the comments?
Yeah, just 1 minute, Emily. So that there, you are what it's all about. So from start to finish, you started off in addiction. And when I say, so people say to me, define recovery. Now, back 5 years ago, 7 years ago, recovery was all about drug and alcohol. It was all about, oh, if you're in recovery, it's drug and alcohol. Well, to me, recovery doesn't mean that anymore. Recovery means anything that you've come back from, whether that be homelessness, drug and alcohol, mental health, domestic violence, whatever that looks like, that is recovery for me. And what I learned in working in this sector is that they come hand in hand. So many people that have got drug and alcohol problems have mental health, homelessness, and vice versa. And for you to come through that pathway, go through all that, then hit custody, get an intervention with the L&D, into the community, into Red Rose, volunteering, rehab, into a job. That is the full shebang for me. And that, for me, is what it's about. And I'll let you gather your thoughts, because I know, obviously, you're quite emotional. And you've just done amazing. And for people watching on the stream, that's what you can achieve if you get the right interventions, the right services, and actually work at it. So, Emily, coming with the comments.
Sorry, I busted in. That was the amazing Peter as well, by the way. Chris Rowlands, it's crazy what we can do even in addiction. Leanne Moore, amazing Peter, giving people hope that recovery is possible. What an inspiration. Chris Rowlands said, I still don't remember half of the stuff I've done in active addiction. Yeah, join the club. James Randolph, a great story and journey of recovery. Janine, amazing, what an absolute inspiration. And Chris Rowlands, what an inspiring, honest reflection of your past life. Thank you, Peter. Well done.
I'm going to, I know Willie and Louise have been obviously waiting really, really quietly. So I'm going to bring Willie in about his words of wisdom, and then we're going to come to Louise, and then I'll talk a bit about my experience from custody and actually coming through custody many, many years ago and my perception of it. So, Willie, do you want to come in, mate, with your words of wisdom?
Yeah, here I am again. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. People rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they are doing. Enthusiasm is a steam that drives the engine. Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Anything in life worth having is worth working for. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying. And that's it for this Saturday night.
Thank you very much, Willie.
Thank you, Willie.
As well.
No problem, mate. Before we go to Louise, and I promised you that I'd mention it about your book. So, do you want to give a brief summary about why you did the book, what it's called, and how we can get copies, Willie?
Well, during the coronavirus, that's not the reason, but it's one of the reasons. I wrote a book for in my book, it's from me in Scotland growing up, and then into teenage years in prisons, adult years, mental health hospitals mostly, right through till 40 now, 44. I wrote it and I got it published, and I'm trying to get it out there for people that have gone down the same road, and there's things in it they will look and they'll say, oh, you know, amazing. I go through psychosis and everything. I did keep a diary, was in prison, and stuff out of that diary, I think some are in it. But really, I just want these books to go out to people to try and help them and see through mental health, hospitals, people that help you. You know, I just want it to help everybody.
Brilliant. And I absolutely love the title of the book, Shattered Mirrors.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love it.
It's called Shattered Mirrors because when you get up or during the day or anything like that, and you look in the mirror, you've got thoughts while you're looking in that mirror. Everyone has thoughts, brushing the teeth, whatever. And that's why their thoughts are there. And it's called Shattered Mirrors because they're thinking into the mirror.
Thank you, Willie.
I mean, Glenn's shatters, but that's for another reason when he looks in it. But do you know what I mean?
Now, Emily. Now.
I don't know where
you could be your boss. Be careful.
I think Pete's sorting it out where they can get the books from.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been waiting, Willie. I've been going into Inspire, and my copy's still not arrived. I
asked him last week, Pete, where I can send them to for you guys.
We will. We will be on to it on the meeting next week. I will chase it up. Peter, if you're listening, we need to chase this up. We need to sort out getting these copies out to people.
I do know that he's been on to Scott and potentially looking at putting it on the website so people can access the book. So he is on with it, because I did have a conversation with him about it the other day. So
thanks, Glenn.
All right, mate. Cheers, Willie. So I'm going to go to Louise next. I'm not going to do an introduction. She can introduce herself and say where she's been, and she's going to talk a bit about opportunity and where she's got to through that opportunity. So do you want to come in, Louise?
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. My name's Louise. Thanks for everybody who's put this on. Peter, I loved your talk. Emily, I think you're doing amazing. I think you should be applying for some of these jobs. Definitely. And Willie, I can't wait to read your book. So yeah, I'll just say just a little bit about myself. You know, when I come into recovery, I was lost. And I needed things to do to fill my day up. You know, my days was always busy doing this and doing that. Anything I shouldn't be doing, I was doing. I had no confidence, no self-worth. The only thing I knew was I didn't want to use. That was it. It was the only thing I had in my head, like I didn't want to use. A job didn't come into my mind. Volunteering definitely didn't come into my mind. All this stuff didn't. And my friend got me involved with Red Rose Recovery. And I started volunteering and doing all the training that they do, you know. Emma Daggers was a big part of my early recovery. She does a lot of training with Red Rose Recovery, and that started giving me a bit of confidence and self-worth and learning a bit about myself. And then through the volunteering that I did, I got employed, and I was running the groups 5 Ways to Wellbeing, which was really good because we used to have people come in, people still using, people in recovery, and we'd all set little tasks for the week after, and it was only a couple of hours a week, but I absolutely loved it. And then with Red Rose, I got a job in Blackpool Children's Centre working with women in domestic violence, which I was in that for years. So that was a really good, rewarding job. And then we got a job contracted to L&D in Preston, and that it was mad at the beginning, one being in a police station, but it was lovely having this team of people around us, and I'm not just saying it because they're on and now they're my bosses, but they were absolutely amazing people. Like, they took us under the wing, like even separate phone calls out of work, you know. We got made to feel part of the team and the job that we do. That's really good as well. As I said in the video, you know, it's really rewarding to finally get paid for something that we love doing as addicts. We love trying to help other addicts anyway. So that was really good. And then, as Glenn said before, you know, you get offered opportunities and unpromised opportunities as well. And everything I've been promised, it's always come through. And there was jobs coming up with the NHS. And at first I was, they won't want me working with them, and all this negativity coming in my head. And anyway, I ended up going for the job, and I ended up getting the job, and that's been one of the best experiences of my life. And you know what? I was actually texting Debs because I was on the phone to the benefits, signing off for the first time ever in my life. To some people, they'd be like, "What it's like letting go of that." That was like my bit of security, you know. I had all my rent paid for me, all this, and you know, last month on the 26th, I paid my first ever rent, and it felt good as well, you know, paying my own way in life. Yeah, it's just everything that's happened in my recovery. Someone asked before, is there any 12 steppers? I'm a 12 stepper, but I've always had Red Rose at the side as well, you know, especially like start of a career. It started weird saying that as well, like career, but yeah, I'm actually building my own little career, and I work now, and I provide. I've got my daughter at home. I provide for me and her. Yeah, it's mad how life can change. I've been clean 4 years, and sometimes using feels far away. But I know it's not, and I know if I don't carry on engaging with all this stuff and doing the next right thing, you know, using is only a footstep away. So that's why I like to get involved with things, share my story, give other people hope, and be an example to especially people listening on this. You can come here, you can volunteer, you can get a job with Red Rose, and then you can go on and get a job with the NHS, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, anyone who's listening, just apply for the jobs, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Well, I never did anyway. And Emily needs to get her application in. So thank you. Thanks for letting me share, guys.
No, thank you so much for that, Louise. That was brilliant. You know, and again, you know, I'm sorry I was a bit emotional before, but thank you so much for everybody at Liaison and Diversion. I think you've absolutely smashed your takeover today. You've been absolutely brilliant. Thanks, Emily, for your comments as always.
Yeah, there's Stephen Brown. It's a massive thing letting go, especially if you're on PIP. Well, yeah, it is. Janine loves you, Louise. And somebody else has put, somebody had said hello to you. Oh yeah, Stephen Brown, shout out to Louise, you're killing it. Got lots of love. Chris Roll as well, Louise, good for you. You are an example. So yeah.
So obviously, you know, Glenn is sat there in feelings. He's like, I've still got to go. We haven't forgot you, Glenn. Don't worry, we haven't forgot you. You know, we're just trying to like bring it back because you hijacked my show.
Very needy. Still very needy. I'll own it. I'm very needy. So I'll own that.
No, you know what? And that's it. And I just want to touch on a comment that Steve Brown said. It's massive. It's a massive thing letting go, guys. You know, firstly, you know, letting go is something really difficult, and letting go into recovery is even more difficult. Letting go of all the little negative things that you think that you still need to do in your life. Yeah. Letting go of all your old contacts and acquaintances and things like that. These are things that need to happen, but they will happen, and you can let go. And I assure you, good things will come from it, because Louise is living proof. I'm bloody living proof. Do you know what? Everybody on this platform pretty much is living proof of, if you let go and actually get deep into recovery, your life will turn around and it will become fantastic. So my mate Glenn, who sat there in feelings, just turned his video off, so wiping his tears up. Where are you, Glenn? Oh, he's changed rooms. He lives in a manor, does our Glenn. You're on mute.
I'm speaking to myself here, aren't I? Sorry about that. So yeah, so I'm just turning my light on. Sorry about that. The reason that I was, because I think it's really important, a fact around the custody experience and people working on that platform and coming into custody. So I want to talk a bit about it and my experience from it. I'm getting a bit nervous now, but anyway. So obviously, a lot of people know my journey in respect of my recovery, my offending. So I've not committed an offence for 13 years. But since that, I'm not going to do a share and talk about my past, because it's my past and it's done. And I'm all right talking about that, but it's not where I'm at today. So I stopped using drug of choice around 12 years ago. And that coincided with my offending, because that stopped. But since then, I had a couple of lapses along the way, different drugs by going out, and I had to change my friends and my behaviours and everything around me, because it wasn't the drug that the problem, was me. And I had to stop going into the community, going out drinking, because that then led to lapses and things like that. But my point being is that even though I wasn't using drugs or alcohol, I still wasn't well. And I think it's really important to say that visibly, you wouldn't have noticed that I had mental health issues or I had problems, because on the exterior, it was that everything was okay. But internally, I had a lot of stuff that I was still dealing with from my past and my childhood. And I didn't know how to communicate that and say that I needed help and support. So I kept it in. And I remember somebody using an analogy that it's like a bottle of pop. I just kept it on. I just kept it on, and all my emotions just kept on. And that then manifested in different ways into my behaviours. So I worked for Red, started the volunteer route, like Louise said, and it wasn't because I wanted a job. It was because my self-worth, and like I said, even though I've not committed offences for years and years, I still wasn't well, and I needed something to fulfil that time, because like you, Peter, I had attempts at suicide, suicidal thoughts, didn't want to be here. I brought my back, and I had a strange experience yesterday, which I'll touch on, while I was in the custody with Debs, and it took me right back, and it was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So when this job, we 12 months ago, we got the contract to deliver this piece of work, and I was already working going into the prisons and working with offenders and doing that, because that's my passion, the criminal justice. It's always been my passion, and I've ended up doing it. My goal many, many years ago was to work in prisons, police stations, with offenders, and I never believed that it could be possible. And we got a contract 12 months ago to work in the custody suites. So I went to my line manager at the time and said, let me do it. I said, I don't want any money for it. I'm not bothered about money. Let me do it. I want to take control of that and support people and do that, because I find it interesting. Anyway, luckily for me, it sat under my remit in respect of Central, so it was in Preston, so that it sat under my remit. So I was lucky enough to line manage the peer support workers that was going in there. And honestly, I come from the cloth of state life and prison and drugs and crime, and on the exterior, I had to portray that everything was okay, and I was this image that I wasn't, and everything I was this. I don't even know how to describe it, but that I had it all going on and stuff like that. But internally, I wasn't that person. I was really, really vulnerable. And I remember doing my vetting. Form and going to the custody, and I was like, there's no way in a million years that they're going to let me in there. No way, because for me, I was going into the police station that from in my hometown, where the others weren't. They was from different areas, so I had the fear of coming up against police and people that I'd come into contact with before, and I remember I had sleepless nights over it. I had sleepless nights thinking, oh, I'm looking at an email back from Alison, and it's going to be, no, your vetting's not been passed, and I got an email saying that you've got to go for an interview. I think Louise is passed, and I got a letter or an email, I can't remember which one it were, saying you've got to go for an interview at home police station. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, you're joking. So and I went. And I went back to my childhood. I was like a vulnerable boy. And I went there, and I was honest, and I told them what I did. And it was like, and you know what? The support that I got through that transition from the L&D team and the police was absolutely amazing. And I couldn't believe it. And it changed my mindset, because my mindset many, many years ago was that you don't talk to police, because they were values that I'd been brought up with. And what I found at a later date is they weren't even my values. And I didn't ever believe that. But because of society, because of media, because of the areas, people, I had that perception. And I got my vetting anyway. And I went into, and it was funny when Scott was talking about it earlier, around when we went in there, and I got took into custody, actually, where the cells are. And the practitioner at the time, I was stood at I was used to being at the other side of the desk, giving my name, giving my property, and going through the whole process. And she said, oh yeah, come behind here. And I went, I said, what? And I was actually sat in the back office where all the sergeants was, and I thought, what, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal, and everything had come true. So I was working in the police stations, I was working in the prisons, I was supporting people, and I think Scott touched it on it earlier. I don't do this because of financial gain. Yeah, brilliant that, yeah, it's a job, brilliant that I get paid for it, but I do it because it's a lifestyle and I absolutely love what I do. And when I was coming through the police stations many, many years ago, I had that perception of, like Louise said, why, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the trauma I've had. You can't help me. You haven't got a clue. And it wasn't even about the practitioner, or because back then I think it was like you said, carrots, and in prisons it was carrots, and it was I can't remember who had the contract years ago, but a drug worker used to come to the cell, and I was like, just shut my door. But that's not because they couldn't help me. It was because of my perception, and my perception of that they couldn't help me. And I say it to this day, that them workers and the L&D, what they do, it's absolutely amazing, because if I'd have had that service and if I'd engaged in services like that, I might have stopped going to prison for 15 years, and I might have kept all the relationships and people are hurting people, relational relationships, and not being there as a dad, and all that's thingy. And I'm all right these days because I've worked through it and I've managed to get all that back and things like that. But that's why I believe in this model, and I believe that it works and it can change people's lives. And I think one of the first peer support workers that we had at the time said to me one day, and it'll never go. They turned around and they said, "I've gone from a prison lanyard to an NHS lanyard," and it just summed it up in one sentence: the fact that where people can get to if they try. And that's why I wanted to come in, because there's many people that are still coming through them custody suites. So my message to you is, take the help and accept it, because it might change your life. And I sit here today, and like Louise, 4 years ago, whatever it were, 3 years ago, I was the same. Why do I want to work? I don't want to work. Yeah, I get my rent paid. I'm okay financially. And I had that mindset, and I needed to challenge that mindset, and I needed to turn it round. So I sit here today, and I know that there's many people that might think this is small in respect of what we've got, but I'm sat here with a wife, my children, I own my own house, my car, I go on holiday. Yeah, no, I've not got loads of money in my bank, but I don't need that. I'm content. And I'm not sat in Preston Prison on Airwing or Lancaster Castle or Weymouth or Averick or Forest Bank or Strangeways, because that's where I was. And so the reason I wanted to touch on that is that there's still people out there watching this show that are going through them police stations. So if support is offered, accept it. So that's my message, and I'll take you back to Peter. So there you go, mate.
Well, thank you very much, Glenn. And thanks for your tour of Her Majesty's finest homes you've stayed in. We enjoyed that. But no, on a serious note, would you have ever expected to be where you are now? Like me, to be where I am now, but to be where you are now, it's humbling.
It is. And can I just say, because I said I'd mention it earlier. So I was in the police station yesterday, and I was sat there in the office, and someone comes to the door and looks at me, and they had a police lanyard, but they wasn't in a uniform. And they said, "Nice to see you here." And I was like, "Who's that?" Oh my God, my heart skipped a beat. I thought, who else have I said something to or done in the past? And I'm getting my heart's beating now as I'm saying it, so you'll have to excuse me. So the person who it was, so 11 years ago, whenever it was, I jumped out of a window 5 foot up, about 40, 50 foot up, and because I was getting chased from the police, and I landed and brought me back at the time, and obviously because I was wanted, I still got arrested, and because it was many years ago. And anyway, she started talking to Debs and diverted the conversation and started speaking to the practitioners in there. And I thought, you can't do that. I need to know who it is. I need to know who this person is. Anyway, it was the officer that arrested me when I brought me back. And she said to me, wow, I can't believe that you sat here in here doing what you're doing. It's absolutely amazing. And that's another thing that I need to touch on as well, is that I've walked through that police station many, many, many times, and there's many officers that I've come into contact with over the years that have actually accepted that I've turned my life around. They've been brilliant, and I'm going to sit here and say that the fact that we've got inspectors, and I went from that sort of lifestyle to sitting in a meeting with Alison, with chief superintendents all across the county, sat there sharing my story. So I just wanted to, and I'm sorry for getting emotional. I don't usually get emotional, but it just shows you that what this model and this L&D and that can do for people's lives, because it saved my life. It really did. And to be accepted by officers that I had that perception of, oh, well, no, you don't talk to them. Well, actually, they're doing a job like everybody else. So I'll leave it there because I know I can ramble on all night about it.
No, thank you, Glenn. Obviously, we have run over again. I thought that would just be Pete's show last week because he just loves to talk. But as anybody else,
I didn't want to rescue you. I didn't want to rescue him. Then I was like, oh, do I just?
Emily, is there anything you want to put in there before we start to wrap up?
Yeah. So Janina said, honestly, this tonight has really got me thinking bigger. Thank you, guys. We'd just like to say thank you to Emily as well. You have been guiding me, and I'm forever grateful. I'll take that. Thank you. Chris Rowland's peace and contentment, priceless. Emma Daggers has put a big love heart. And then Emma's put, don't ever be sorry for being authentic. It's real, and real is beautiful. Chris Rowland's top one, Glenn, thank you. And like, I just want to add, when I first heard Glenn's story of, you know, the craziness of addiction, of, you know, the police are after me, so let's jump out of a high-rise flat building because that works, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And just the mayhem of just the craziness of what happens in addiction. And it's just like, when you told me that, I was like, oh, shit, whoa. And you're amazing.
Never heard it.
You're amazing, and you're just an inspiration. So yeah, thank you.
I've still not heard your life story, Glenn. I keep bugging you to come on a Wednesday to do it, and I will continue to bug you till I hear it.
I will do it.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you for.
Thank you, Willie. Thank you for turning up yet again, week in, week out. You know, this show is cornerstone to your words of wisdom, mate. We love you, and the guys love you too. You know, you're a living testament of recovery, my friend. And you know, it's just great for people to see you and to hear what you've got to say. So L&D guys, is there Alison, Deborah, and well, Louise? You know, you're an L&D guy, a recovering 12-stepper. You know, you're all round awesome. Have you guys got anything you want to add? Because I've got a little poem that I want to, well, a little reading that I want to read out to end the show with.
You go ahead,
Sorry, Willie.
You're all right.
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having us on the LUF Lounge tonight, and to be part of listening to all your fantastic inspirational stories. And can I just sort of say, in terms of the peer support worker rollout that we've got across Lancashire and Cumbria, it's very much a partnership, and I hope that's come across in sort of Glenn's story, in Louise's story, and sort of what Scott's had to say about how that relationship sort of works together. It's not a divide, it's not them and us, it's the service couldn't be doing what it's doing today if we didn't have the peer support workers sort of completing the staff and the experience that we've got in the team.
Yeah, love.
I think the only thing I've got to say is, you know, our team has grown so much with having Glenn and Louise in part of the team now, and Scott, unfortunately, is leaving us. But yeah, guys, you make me proud every day. You really do.
Thank you very much. And again, you know, there are jobs available for the L&D team throughout Cumbria and Lancashire. Hit the www.redroserecovery.org.uk, click on the jobs, you'll see them there. Emily, I'll send you the link. Anyway, guys, I found this before. You know, people who attend groups with me, they know that I love to have a little bit of positive affirmation, little stories at the end. So I just want to leave this with you, and then we're going to wrap it up, guys. One day when I was young, I heard a knock at my door. It sounded familiar, like I'd heard it before. I opened the door, and to my surprise, there stood a young lady with blonde hair and brown eyes. She said, "I have the answers. Are you ready to play?" So I grabbed my money and I said, "Okay." There were the answers that I always sought: liquids, pills, and powders. I bought. And one day my friend suddenly changed. Her face became ugly, calloused, and deranged. She grabbed my hand and we tore through the town. My loved ones and friends could only watch and frown. She kept whispering something I could only guess. It sounded like she was repeating, "Yes, yes, yes." How quickly from the fun to very near death. How quickly from one beer to smoking crystal meth. I thought of my family. Oh, what a mess. But all I heard was screaming, "Yes, yes, yes." I had to find help. I was at wit's end. I'd lost my child, my family, and my friends. I said, "God, are you there? Can you help me, please?" A sudden peace came over me, and I fell to my knees. God answered the riddle that so long I did guess. Why my addiction kept screaming, "Yes, yes, yes." It's because I kept asking night after night, is it going to be different this time, right? I said, "God, I'm not worth it. I feel like a jerk." He said, "Suit up, show up. It's time to go to work." It's now been 8 months since I had my last drink. It's given me time to remember and time to think. So I am here to tell you in this little rhyme, life keeps getting better one day at a time. So when you think you're going insane, there's always sunshine after the rain.
Brilliant.
That was good,
Pete?
that.
Pete,
Yes, Willie,
can I say something?
you can say whatever you like, mate.
I just want to say thanks to all the staff that have looked after me here where I am now. And it's been the longest place I've ever been. And I'd like, Sophia, I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you as well for Alison, Bev, all them people that got me through the LUF when I started going to the LUF years ago. Thanks for getting me where I am, guys, everyone.
Thank you, Willie.
We love
Thank
you,
you very
Willie.
much. Right, guys, that's it. Thank you very much. If anything has affected you tonight, don't forget your support networks. Make sure you're in contact with people if you're struggling. Pick up the bloody phone, guys. Connection, connection, connection. The opposite of addiction is connection. Keep safe, and we'll see you next week. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Glenn.
Bye.
See you later, Willie.
Bye, Emily.
Bye, Willie. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.